Welcome back, investors, to Ticker Time News. I'm Adam, and we finally have a redacted version of Workhorse's opposition to the government's motion to dismiss. While we've been given glimpses of their argument, it's nice to finally have their thoughts. In this video, I'm going to summarize their 57-page document, and I will leave a link in the description below if you would like to read through the whole thing yourself. It's a great read, and there's some interesting things that Workhorse does bring up. But before we get into everything Workhorse in this document, there are 3 quick actions that I would love for you to take. Smash the like button, share this video with your friends, and click subscribe to join our family of investors. Those 3 actions are greatly appreciated and help out the channel with YouTube's algorithm. So thank you, my friends, for doing that. Now, let's get started. According to Workhorse, the USPS argued that the court may not exercise its jurisdiction under the Tucker Act to consider Workhorse's challenge to what Workhorse says is a flawed bidding process and inappropriately awarded the next generation delivery vehicle contract. Then they mentioned the USPS's 2-step administrative appeal process that suppliers like Workhorse must go through before seeking judicial review. Workhorse states 3 flaws in the motion to dismiss. The first problem that Workhorse states are that Congress did not authorize USPS to limit the jurisdiction Congress gave the court under the Tucker Act to decide bid protests, because only Congress can limit the court's Tucker Act jurisdiction. USPS cannot mandate that a supplier like Workhorse exhaust 2 levels of administration review before it can seek judicial relief. Now, under the Tucker Act of 1887, the United States waived its sovereign immunity as to certain kinds of claims, including contract claims like Workhorse is making. Then, Workhorse says there's no precedent or case law that suggests otherwise. They continue by saying that only the argument the USPS has made in the Palladium Partners v. United States, and that's obviously being used and applied differently than in this case. In that case, they argue a size protest, while Workhorse is arguing a bid protest, which are completely different. Now, in comparing the 2 cases, there's no comparable congressional authorization that supports the USPS's regulation. Furthermore, this bid protest does not involve a technical issue that's outside of the court's expertise. So the court has jurisdiction under the Tucker Act to decide on a resolution. The second problem that Workhorse argues is that the USPS cannot just decide on its own to make up its own mandatory bid process, because Congress already has well-established rules for this, including this exact court and the Government Accountability Office. The third problem that Workhorse argues is that the exhaustion regulation would serve no purpose, as Workhorse presented its claims at the first level of administrative review, and the USPS made it clear that it would not change its predetermined conclusion to award the contract to Oshkosh. Workhorse is arguing for a third party outside of the USPS to decide on its bid protest. This third party is similar to the argument made with the administrative remedy scheme addressed in the Palladium Partners v. United States, that the USPS completely fails to understand the argument made in that case. Workhorse describes the USPS 2-step appeals process as banging its head against the wall while the USPS is reviewing its own work and rubber stamping its own award decisions. Then, Workhorse gets into the meat of the argument. The USPS's two-step appeals process also violates the Constitution's Appointments Clause. Just last month, the Supreme Court held that inferior officers cannot finally adjudicate claims on behalf of the executive branch where their decisions are not reviewable by a principal officer who is appointed by the president with the advice and consent of the Senate. United States v. Arthrex, USPS's second level appeal decision maker, is just such an inferior officer whose decisions are final and binding, yet not subject to review by the USPS's Board of Governors, the Postmaster General, or any principal officer. Because USPS's administrative process is constitutionally weak, Workhorse is not required to follow it. Workhorse's bid protest is properly before the court, and the motions to dismiss should be denied. The other pages are where Workhorse goes into great detail laying out their case against the USPS. Much of it is similar to their original complaint, such as President Biden's executive order on January 27, 2021, directing the procurement of clean and zero-emission vehicles for federal, state, local, and tribal government fleets, including vehicles of the United States Postal Service. How Oshkosh's vehicle is a conventional internal combustion engine like the rest of the aging USPS fleet. How Oshkosh's vehicle also is entirely different from the Ford Transit-based vehicle that it submitted in the prototype phase. How Oshkosh admitted to the Securities and Exchange Commission in November of 2020 that Oshkosh may not have the expertise or resources to successfully manufacture electric vehicles on a cost-effective basis or at all. Well, I guess we'll wrap up the video right here and toss it over to you. What do you think are Workhorse's chances of succeeding in getting this case past the dismissal phase? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.